Welcome to happy hour. I'm not gonna lie, I woke up just a touch under the weather today. It's a touch of sinuses, it's mostly head, but I don't want it to get bad enough that it becomes like the rest of me, which means we're keeping things very simple today. I do love my women authors mug. Okay, I don't know where my husband gets this stuff, but this is honey, citron, and ginger tea. I think they used to have it at Costco, but now he finds it online. This stuff, it's like a goo. Oh, I did that. Kind of reminds me of that pink goopy stuff in the second Ghostbusters movie, but smelling of orange rind. Maybe some Sudafed later might be good. Why, yes, I did put mascara on while waiting for the kettle to boil. Don't worry about it. That's hot enough. It's 4 o'clock. Adding a touch of whiskey won't kill me. Ah, but the eternal question, which whiskey? No. Ooh, rum. You know what rum it is. Gosling's has never steered me wrong before. This concoction has no name. Maybe it's just a lazy attempt at a hot toddy. Actually, what goes in a real hot toddy? I'll look it up. Is this any good, or have I ruined my tea? Let's find out. Cheers. No, that's quite lovely, actually. I'm not even that sick. I just feel gross. It's really not bad. I mostly just feel a little gunked up and sleepy. I promise I have been resting. And for this video, I'm just going to recap my August reading and talk about my September TBR. And 3 weeks into August was when I submitted my master's thesis. So for those 3 weeks, I was really only concerned about the books that I was studying and the research that helped support my argument. And I really wasn't reading anything else. More on the details of my research in another video, but I will go ahead and admit that beyond the Simone de Beauvoir for feminist perspective and Todorov for genre theory perspective, once I hit submit on that paper, I'll be honest, I didn't have it in me to reach for anything particularly complex. As far as descriptors go, I've never liked brain off or mindless entertainment. I like keeping my brain on. That said, there are sometimes books that scratch an itch that are perhaps, say, less than erudite. And once I was through all of my literary analysis, that is what I reached for. And this is where the cold must have gone to my head because I completely neglected to record recaps of my August reads. Filthy Rich Vampire by Geneva Lee follows Julian, a vampire who is being pressured into marriage by his powerful family, and Thea, a struggling human musician, as they navigate the vampire social season. Fake dating trope meets billionaire romance. You get it. Eventually, I'm going to do a yes, no, maybe on vampire books. For the time being, this is a maybe, but it will probably slide into the no category because this is the first in a series, and I really don't have any interest in continuing the series. I did finish the book. It did the things. And as far as a literary off-ramp from academia goes, because we were getting to a point there where my brain just felt like Swiss cheese, this was an off-ramp. Now, to keep both the scratching of the itch and the vampire lore going, I also picked up Invoking the Blood. Invoking the Blood by Callista Neath follows Faye, an apparent mortal, and Rune, the Shadow Prince, as they form a connection in spite of a super prejudiced vampire societal hierarchy. Which I then DNF'd at 70%. It's a solid no for me, I can't do it. Then I dipped my toes into Learn My Lesson. Learn My Lesson by Katie Robert is the second in a series of adult retellings based on Disney lore. This one follows the creation of a throuple between Hercules, Meg, and Hades. Yes, I'm serious. And perhaps this one hit a little too close to home. My master's thesis was, after all, about the Hades and Persephone myth and its retellings. Why I thought an adult reimagining of Disney's Hercules would help me come down from that? I'm not totally sure. And finally, I reread Radiance by Grace Draven. Radiance by Grace Draven is about an arranged political marriage between Ildiko, a human of noble blood, and Brishan, the Prince of the Kai, a mysterious race of lethal human-like creatures. The pair enter their marriage on friendly, if cautious terms, both finding the other entirely unattractive. This is a comfort romance. I've reread it about 6 times. It's not a perfect book, but I do enjoy it very much. And this finally did the thing that I was hoping the others would, which was sink me into a read for pleasure book without all of the let me overanalyze every sentence. Which again, I enjoy doing in the bulk of my reading, but after a 50 references strong bibliography, I earned just a little bit of a break from doing that. And while my body seems to be, dealing with the physical effects of stress, my mind is significantly more recovered, which means I'm ready and excited for September's reads. I'm trying to be better about sticking to a monthly TBR. I think going month by month is going to help me. And while drinking for your entertainment is plenty of fun, it does hurt my heart a little bit inside when the have not read pile is significantly bigger than the have read pile. So a month at a time, We're gonna try and fix that. I'm also about halfway through Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil, which will definitely also be included in a later and longer video about vampire books that I love. I will go ahead and admit that this one has been slow going for me. I usually consume books like this a lot faster, but now that I have a little more free time on my hands, I do plan on finishing this within the next day or two. So as soon as I'm done with Bury Our Bones, the first up on my September TBR is The Bewitching. I really love Sylvia Moreno Garcia. I've been excited since this came out. The Daughter of Dr. Moreau is one of my favorites, and I really enjoyed Gods of Jade and Shadow. I know I need to get to Mexican Gothic at some point, but The Bewitching feels like an interesting parallel to Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil, and while I don't anticipate that there's an exact comparison to be made, each book follows the stories of three women in three very different eras, and how each of the women's stories intertwine. And perhaps the reason I felt that I needed a little bit of a brain break before diving into this one is because the character Minerva is a grad student studying literature, but I am looking forward to it and I've heard really good things. The rest I can't say I necessarily have any particular lineup for. I'll probably decide what's next as I come to it. Another book that's been recommended to me a number of times is When the Tides Held the Moon by Vanessa Vita Kelly. This is an fantasy romance set in the 1910s in New York City. Benny is a Puerto Rican ironsmith constructing cages for Luna Park, the eccentric sideshow in Coney Island, when he meets Rio, a merman pulled from the East River. Gideon the Ninth had spent way too long on my TBR. In fact, I'm pretty sure I picked up this copy 3 years ago, which is way too long for anything to be sitting on my shelf unread. Now I'm getting to it. A solar system of swordplay, cutthroat politics, and lesbian necromancers. The most fun you'll ever have with a skeleton. I don't know, Halloween season is upon us. I can have a lot of fun with a skeleton. HarperCollins recently sent me some PR mail, and Until the World Falls Down from Avon Books was one of them. Think Labyrinth retelling meets Beauty and the Beast. The Sarah or Belle here is a character called Nell, who pleads a wish into the universe. Uh-oh. And Enver, the Goblin King/Beast character, offers her a deal. Make it through the labyrinth within 48 hours, or spend eternity as his lover. 48 hours is a whole lot more generous than the 13 Sarah got. Less than 13. Jareth took time away. Labyrinth is a comfort movie of mine. Damaged by Josephine Hart was adapted into a Netflix series recently. I haven't seen it, but the trailers really interested me. As I understand it, this is about the scandal that ensues when a very successful, handsome member of parliament enters into an affair with his son's fiancée. Sure to make me angry at the follies of powerful men in a time like ours. But this is meant to break me out of my comfort zone a little bit. As far as contemporary fiction goes, this isn't usually the avenue I follow, but I have heard very good things about Josephine Hart's writing style. The spear cuts through water. This is another one that I keep seeing recommended. This is a standalone fantasy about an escaped god previously held captive by an oppressive regime, and the two warriors June and Kima who help her journey to freedom. For something a little cozy, I have A Fellowship of Bakers and Magic, and this just sounded too sweet to pass up. Sweet. Huh. Arletta is a human living in a magical realm whose baking creations are entered into a competition. Can a human without magic believe in herself enough to compete against those with magic? That just seems awfully cute. The Witch and the Vampire. This was an impulse purchase, but let me tell you why. A queer Rapunzel retelling with a witch and a vampire. That was really all I needed to be convinced. Who trust no one but themselves must journey together through a cursed forest with danger at every turn. Come to think of it, I may save that one for closer to the end of the month, because I do foresee mostly witches and vampires in my October TBR, but one thing at a time. And finally, Blood over Brighthaven. I know a lot of people are down their Catabasis rabbit holes at the moment, and that's completely fine and they're totally allowed. I am not there yet. So as far as dark fantasy academia goes, I'm gonna stick to a magic school story that doesn't involve a descent into hell. Just for now. I'll get to Catabasis, the first woman ever admitted to the High Magistracy at the University of Magics and Industry. Still plenty of sexism to unpack in academia, I tell you what. Now that I'm no longer up to my eyeballs in genre theory critique, I think 9 per month is doable. I reserve the right to add to this if an impulse ebook should cross my path, which it possibly will. Now I know I'm late to the game with a few of those, so if any of you have read them, comment below and let me know which ones, along with what you thought of them and if you have any others on your TBR. I'm still not starting a book club, but if I did, The Bewitching would be my pick for September, and if you happen to read it sometime during the month, come back here and let me know what you think. If you're seeing this on Wednesday, thank you so much for being a Bindery subscriber, and if you're seeing this on Thursday, maybe pop over to my Bindery and subscribe. More to come about the Masters later this week, and until then, thank you so much for popping into Happy Hour. Cheers!